I'm going to start with a story you've probably lived through already. You see a sleek, four-wheel scooter on a product page. The pictures make it look like it could glide through the grocery aisle with the same ease you'd expect from a high-end electric bike. You picture the seat folding down for the car, the battery promising a whole day of cruising, and the whole thing slipping into the trunk like a piece of luggage. Then you order it, you get it home, you try to drive it out of the garage and boom, you're wrestling with a bulky frame, a battery that seems to drain faster than advertised, and a turning radius that feels more like steering a shopping cart than a personal mobility device. If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone, and that's why I'm doing this deep dive. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about what the GoGo Ultra X actually promises. Pride markets this scooter as a travel mobility solution for adults who need a compact, yet capable, ride. The key numbers you'll see are a 12Ah battery, 300 pounds weight capacity, and a seat that's 17 inches, so the footprint is modest, but the rider size is generous. On the surface, that sounds like a win-win, a scooter you can stash in a hatchback, with enough power to get you from a doctor's office to a coffee shop without a hitch. The hidden trade-offs, however, pop up once you start testing it in real-world scenarios. I've spent the last few weeks on 3 different scooters, but the GoGo Ultra X felt the most engineered for travel and the least designed for daily grind. The first thing you'll notice is the folding mechanism. Pride has made it relatively straightforward, a release lever on each side, then the entire frame collapses down to a height you can lift with one hand. In my apartment, that meant I could fold it in the hallway, roll it to the elevator, and push it into the building lobby without any extra tools. For people who live in tight spaces or who need to put the scooter in a car trunk regularly, this is a genuine convenience. The downside is that the hinge points feel a little loose once you lock them in the travel position. After a couple of trips, the fold didn't sit as tightly as it did brand new, which could lead to a wobble if you're loading the scooter with groceries right after taking it out of the trunk. Battery life is where the conversation gets interesting. Pride advertises a 12Ah battery that should last roughly 15 miles on a full charge under normal conditions. In the real world, normal changes depending on terrain and rider weight. I tested the scooter on a flat suburban street, stopped at a couple of traffic lights, and pushed the throttle lightly. After about 12 miles, the battery indicator showed a 20% remaining charge, and I could still keep cruising at a comfortable 5 miles per hour. That means you can probably get a full day's worth of errands without a recharge, assuming you're not climbing steep hills or going over 7 miles per hour consistently. A practical note, the charger takes about 8 hours to go from empty to full, so you'll need to plan ahead if you rely on your scooter for early morning appointments. The scooter does have an upgraded charging option and optional quick charge adapter, but that adds a few $100s to the price and isn't included out of the box. Safety and durability are always buzzwords, but Pride backs this model with an FDA Class II medical device classification, which tells me they've put some thought into stability and overall reliability. The anti-tip wheelbase is wide enough to feel planted when you're turning on city sidewalks, and the brakes, both a hand lever and a foot-activated rear brake, respond promptly. I'll be honest, if you've never used a four-wheel scooter before, the handbrake takes a short adjustment period. You release the throttle, squeeze the lever, and the scooter comes to a smooth stop. The foot brake is a nice backup, especially if you're riding with a coffee in hand and need a quick, one-foot push. The only safety nuance I discovered is that the scooter's headlights are not especially bright. At dusk, I found myself pulling a small flashlight from my bag to see the path ahead clearly. If you plan to ride after dark, an add-in LED headlamp would be worth the extra $30. Now, who should consider buying the GoGo Ultra X? The sweet spot is anyone who needs a reliable, compact scooter for short to medium trips, think 5 to 15 miles per day, who also values the ability to store the machine in a small garage or the trunk of a mid-size SUV. Seniors who want a low-maintenance ride that can handle a grocery run, a visit to the doctor, or a trip to the park will find the seat width comfortable and the steering intuitive after the initial learning curve. I've spoken to a few owners in online forums who say the scooter makes it possible for them to